I can see there are new friends joining our Lunch and Learn. My name is Shenzhan Liao. I'm the head of the School of Chinese Studies at China Institute, your host of Lunch and Learn. 我是申展，很高兴大家参加我们的午间中文。I'm here with my colleague Yongqiang. Yongqiang?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, so both of us will be hosting and sharing with everyone about the poem. Let me first bring up the slide. I will just jump right in as I will explain how the session will go for our new friends. Just 1 second, let me bring up the PowerPoint.
34 people. Because
so for Lunch and Learn, every session we select one poem to read together. And we will invite a guest speaker to focus on one cultural aspect that's related to this poem. Last month, we read Li Bai sending off his friend. Today is another departing poem by Wang Wei. Wang Wei.
Wang Wei.
As we often talk about Chinese poems are lyrics for songs, I'm very pleased to share that today we invite back our guest musician and educator, Miss Zhou Yi, with not her pipa this time, but another special instrument that we will see later. As a reminder, please keep your speaker muted as we will read aloud together. I will instruct you, so don't worry if it's your first time to the session, and also to allow everyone have an uninterrupted experience. The session will be recorded, so it's your choice whether you want to keep your video on or not. We will make this video available on our YouTube channel, so you can come back and also at any time. There is a chat room function. If you have questions or comments, welcome to share in the chat room. If we have time after we have our guest speaker sharing her expertise and performance, we will, if we have time, we often don't because we enjoy often our guest speakers very much. If we do have time, we will have a breakout session so we can have a little bit more time to read aloud together in smaller groups. I can see we have almost 40 people in today's room session, so keep yourself muted will be important throughout the session. Of course, when we get to Q&A, then please turn on your speaker. As the world is finally reopening, let's fingers crossed that it keeps reopening. We will send out a survey to get your input regarding the future format of our Lunch and Learn series, which started, in fact, almost a year ago. Also, we do need your testimonials and feedbacks. You can reply in the survey that we will send out later, or email me as you prefer. I look forward to reading your messages. Your participation is highly valued and appreciated. So let's take a look at this slide. The title of today's poem is Song Yuan Shi Anxi by Wang Wei. Yuan is the name of the person who's living. Shi here is to visit. Anxi, literally, we probably can recognize Xi means west. Anxi here literally means west of Chang'an. An represents Chang'an, which was the capital city of Tang Empire from 7th to 10th century. We have read many Tang poems at this point through Learn and Learn. So we probably remember that Tang Dynasty, which was perceived as the most powerful dynasty in China with prosperity and openness. Its capital, Chang'an, we may suppose, represents not only a geographic location, but more of the center of the empire. Since early Tang Dynasty, a special agency, in fact, was established to govern the furthest northwest part of the empire, and the name is Anxi. So from the title, we know that Wang Wei's friend, Yuan is living for a place far away from the center of the empire, Chang'an. This is another best-known Tang poem on the theme of departing. We may remember Wang Wei, who's best known for his short quatrains, 绝句, with only 4 lines in the poem. Many of us perhaps remember his dear fence, Lu Zhai. New friends may find the recording from our June 2020. And Yongchang, if you can you please post the link in the chat room? Song Yuan Anxi is a heptasyllabic quatrain. So we have 7 characters in each line, 4 lines altogether. That's the basic format of a heptasyllabic quatrain. Here we provide 2 translations as a comparison. One on the left by Stephen Owen, who's one of the best-known sinologists specializing in pre-modern literature in China at Harvard University. The one on the right is by Xu Yuanchong, one of the best Chinese translators of classical literature in China. So we can see there are great differences, even though the gist or the meanings of the lines are similar, but there are great differences in these 2 translations. As usual, I will invite you to glance the translations. I hope it's not too overwhelming while I demo the read aloud of the entire poem. For new friends, this is a read aloud session, so there is a part that we focus on the pronunciation and the reading of the poem. So my demo will start now. 宋元二使安西，渭城朝雨浥轻尘。客舍青青柳色新，劝君更尽一杯酒。西出阳关无故人。That's it. I want to point out 2 important places, as they are rather important to understand a deeper meaning of this poem. 渭城 and 阳关, which, as you can see in Stephen Owen's translation, it's quite literally translated as Wei, city, and Yang, pass. While in Xu Yuanchong's version, Weicheng is completely absent in the first line, and Yangguan is translated into sunny pass, as the root meaning of Yang is indeed the sun. So I would invite you to perhaps keep it in your mind The reason why there is a difference here as well, we continue our reading and explaining a little bit of these two places. This is a map of today's China. You can see the outline of China's territory marked in greenish color. Weicheng is, Weicheng is here. It's close to Xi'an, the town, the modern city of Chang'an, the Tang Empire's capital. And here is Yangguan, a strategically important pass set up by Tang Empire as to manage the territory far away from the center of the empire, especially to the west. For people who are used to the rather cosmopolitan and luxury life in Chang'an, life in the west of Yangguan or the Sunny Pass is often considered as outside of the pass or with a distant reach of the empire, quite and usually described as rather harsh. And journey to those remote areas in those days may be one way instead of round trip. So with that understanding, now when we look back at the poem, we may have another layer of understanding, which may not be a regular departing song for a friend, but saying goodbye for a lifetime. Nevertheless, all the emotions are very much reserved. 渭城朝雨浥轻尘，客舍青青柳色新. The two lines, the first two lines, set up the stage. The early spring rainy scenery of the guest house, where Wang Wei and Yuan are drinking, maybe, just maybe, for the last time. 劝君更尽一杯酒，西出阳关无故人. The second two lines are direct to the theme, but all the emotions are distilled to 14 characters, drinking one more cup, as such moment may be the last we can have together once you get out of Yangguan. With that, let's read the lines character by character. So I will read each line twice. The first time I will pause after each character, and the second time the entire line and pause. And please read after me. And here we go. 渭城朝雨浥轻尘. 渭城朝雨浥轻尘. 客舍青青柳色新. 客舍青青柳色新. 劝君更尽一杯 酒，劝君更尽一杯酒。西出阳关无故人，西出阳关无故人。That's it. Quatrains are very short. So maybe one more time all together from the top. 宋元二使安西，渭城朝雨浥轻尘。客舍青青柳色新，劝君更尽一杯酒。西出阳关无故人。Such moment of sending off a dear friend would not be complete without music. In fact, this poem, since it's written, has been accompanied by music. Until today, there is a famous Qin piece based on the lyric of this poem called, I have it on the screen already, 阳关三叠。三 3 叠 literally means place on top of each other or layers. Here we can say 3 stanzas of Yangguan. Each is similar with slight differences that move the emotions to a deeper level. The instrument that we will learn about is called qin, a 7-string zither considered as the most quintessential Chinese instrument for scholars. The earliest literary record mentioning qin we have in fact read in our lunch and learn session was a poem from the Book of Songs, Shi Jing, from about 500 BC. Some of you may remember its Guanju, Guan, the ospreys. And Yongchang, can you please share the link in the chat room too? But well, we can also assume that the history of Qin must be much earlier than Shi Jing. Today, with very little physical changes, Qin still holds a high prestige and is in fact having a revival in China. So now I want to turn to Ms. Zhou Yi, who we have the honor to invite back to share her expertise and performance of Qin. I will also invite Yongchang, my co-host, to perform reading this poem together with Zhou Yi, Zhou Laoshi. As a pipa and qin soloist, Ms. Zhou is praised for her breathtaking, meticulous technique and expressiveness by the Washington Post and performs widely both in the United States and internationally. She teaches pipa. By the way, her pipa class will start on April 12th. So if any of you are interested in learning about pipa, here you have a wonderful teacher. I have to plug in this promotion, I cannot help. So she teaches pipa and qin classes as well as performs regularly at China Institute. Many of us have enjoyed her pipa when we read Pipa Xing last time. And today we have a chance to learn from her about qin. After this session, I'm just saying you can officially graduate as a Chinese scholar in the traditional sense. So now please, Zhou Laoshi, can you please turn on your camera? And I will turn the floor to you, or I will turn the screen to you. I will stop sharing.
Hello, everyone. I am Zhou Yi. 你好. Thank you, Liao 老师, for your introduction. As Liao 老师 said before, Qing plays an important role in Chinese culture, especially Chinese scholars' culture, because our ancestors believe Qing is one of the four major art in Chinese culture. The first one is qing, which is my instrument, a 7-string zither. The second one is go, and the third one is calligraphy, and the fourth one is painting arts. So you can tell qing's on the top one. All right, so it's called 7-string zither. Of course, there are 7 strings, and some people may confuse qing with another instrument, 古筝, 筝, similar, but the 筝 has usually 21 and 24 string, and it's bigger and longer. And also 筝 has a bridge, but qing, Chinese zither, has 7 string, bridgeless, no bridge. And so the qing, this part, you can tell, we call it 乐山. This actually, it's kind of like acts like a bridge to tie the string up. 乐山 means musical mountain. So here from right hand is mountain, and here usually mountains, the water flows down to the end of the qing. So qing is usually we play from right hand to left hand. So this is a correct way to put qing down. And the back of the qing has 2 sound holes. They're different shape, but my qing is like a round shape. So this one is called a dragon pool. You should believe like dragon stays there. And this is called phoenix pond. So dragon and phoenix. Usually qing has a carve, always had the name of the qing, or some poem to give the qing a personal character. Alright, so as all old Chinese instruments, the strings, they are tuned in pentatonic scales. Yeah, so the first qing appeared around 3,000 years ago. Originally, it only has 5 strings, 5 tones, 5 notes. 宫商角徵羽. Then there were 2 emperors. They add the 6th string and the 7th string. Now the qing now formed 7th string. There are 3 major tunes the qing can produce. Open string, that represent the sound from the heaven. And also harmonics. They represent the sound from the earth. And also stop string. Now I'll use my left hand to press down the string on the top. And when I move my left hand up and down, stop string. These sounds represent us, the human being, because it's like when we talking, when we learn especially Mandarin, we have different tones. Ma, 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 ma. So this is why the left hand we use different kind of vibrato and sliding note to play. 4 major technique for left hand is called 错 zhu, yin, nao. Chuo, that means go up. The ornamentation. And zhu means go down. Zhu, it's like pouring water from mountain to down. Yin, it's a small vibrato. Now is a bigger waved vibrato. The ancient Chinese character, the now, sounds, it has like a 反圈旁, like an animal part. So that means the monkey swings, monkey on the swing. Probably you can tell when I play the left hand. And a major technique for the right hand, we call it 8 major technique for the right hand. Remember, for both hands, the pinky is called the forbidden finger. We don't use it. So only thumb, pointer, middle, and the ring finger. And when you play out, use a nail pot. They make a brighter sound. So this sound, we call it sound of yang because it's brighter. But when you go inside this part, yeah, they produce a very warm, earthy tone. So this present the sound from the yin. So when go out, yang, and go in. And for like, this is 8 techniques, because go in and out for each finger. So 4 by 2 will be 8. And there are very, each technique has a special name. For example, so there's a technique called the spring bird flies out from the valley. So it's kind of like this. It's a hand posture. So hand posture has like this. Yeah, maybe you can follow me do the hand posture. Yeah, so this is a major one. Usually, yeah. And a right hand pointer and a middle finger. Yeah, it's a different technique. All right. From Chinese culture, the poem and the music and even dance, these 3 major arts, they always combine together, not just individually exist. So when people recite a poem, always follow the music. Actually, all the music a long time ago, they all have lyrics, which is ancient poem, and sometimes a dance movement. Now I'd like to invite Yongqiang 老师. Please join me, and Yongqiang 老师 will recite what the poem we just learned in a performance tune and with the music. So he will be the introduction of my performance. After he reciting the poem, I will play the whole piece of Yangguan Sandie. Please enjoy.
“渭城朝雨浥轻尘，客舍青青柳色新。劝君更尽一杯酒，西出阳关无故人。
微尘朝雨映清晨，歌声静静流丝心，传君更尽一杯酒，西出阳关无故人，依依不日不人，泪滴沾襟。感怀感怀，思今时二十成，无复相负人，谁相拥？谁相拥？谁可相